This guy's got a bunch of turkeys on his wall. Clay Clark's Reawaken America, something or other, and then In Focus with, the fuck is this dude's name? With Teddy Daniels? Who's Teddy? Is he Teddy? I don't know. Biden agrees to pay climate reparations. Oh, this goes to the climate reparations thing. Nice opening. Oh, Addison Smith.
Well, President Joe Biden announced on Saturday that the United States will be paying climate reparations to other...
And we've got homelessness here in the United States, and we're going to pay to fix homelessness because of climate change in another country. Who the fuck does this sound like?
Countries, because we are stupid, apparently.
I see. We are stupid, apparently.
Which is...
By the way, before we get too far into this, I would like to remind everyone that the reason we're paying, quote, climate reparations to help shore up these countries is because the climate damage that these countries are experiencing is driving a shit ton of unregulated, like, stampede migration. And the Europeans and the Americans are trying to avoid people having to, race away from their entire communities because it's going to be underwater, or it's the entire infrastructure of the area has collapsed, by helping support it so those people don't have to leave and come here. This is something that normally the OAN crowd is all about.
As the Daily Mail details, will cost Americans up to $1 billion to compensate.
Up to $1 billion. Sounds like somebody is using the cost of borrowing money over a 10-year period to raise the number to something that would actually justify a segment.
Compensate developing countries for global warming. However, listen to this, China will not have to pay into the global fund.
China is not paying into the global fund. Big fucking deal. Neither is Guatemala. And?
China's not going to have to pay for it. Wouldn't you know? The CCP doesn't have to pay climate reparations, even though their emissions are more than all of the developed nations combined.
Yes, largely because they have been the factory of the world for the rest of the developed nations on the planet. They're making the stuff we use. They have been. They're not anymore. But they've been making the stuff we use all this time. So a large element of their output in terms of toxicity and pollution has been because they're the factory of the world, which this asshole is a part of.
How about that?
How about that?
This decision came after negotiations were made at the UN COP27 summit in Egypt. If you're wondering why you've never heard of this before, climate reparations, it's because this $1 billion climate fund has previously been known as a loss and damage fund.
So you guys renamed it, or somebody renamed it, the Loss and Damage Fund. Hold on. Climate Loss and Damage Fund. I see. So COP27, November 20th, 2022, reaches breakthrough agreement on new loss and damage fund for vulnerable countries. The United States Climate Change Conference, COP27, closed today with a breakthrough agreement to provide loss and damage funding for vulnerable countries hit hard by climate disasters. This outcome moves us forward, says Simon Steele, UN Climate Change Executive Secretary. We have determined a way forward on decades-long conversation of funding for loss and damage, deliberating over how we address the impacts on communities whose lives and livelihoods have been ruined by the worst impacts of climate change. Set against a difficult geopolitical backdrop, COP27 resulted in countries delivering a package of decisions that reaffirmed their commitment to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. The package also strengthened action by countries to cut greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the inevitable impacts of climate change, as well as boosting the support of finance, technology, and capacity building needed by developing countries. Creating a specific fund for loss and damage marked an important point of progress, with the issue added to the official agenda. Okay, so here's what it is. Hype train. Thanks, everybody. It's called the Loss and Damage Report. It's still called that. Climate reparations is a made-up phrase that either some slacktivist made up because they liked it, or these assholes made up to shit on the loss and damage fund because they don't like it.
And it's been blocked by previous administrations.
Trump, you mean?
Now, the silver lining here, hopefully, is that it may be blocked again as Republicans now hold a majority in the House of Representatives.
No.
Joining me now to weigh in on this is retired police officer, Purple Heart recipient, combat veteran in the U.S. Army in Afghanistan, Teddy Daniels. Teddy, I'm tired of hearing all of our money being going to useless garbage, especially when we have to pay reparations over something that one of the worst perpetrators of, China, doesn't have to pay a penny.
I see. So the use of the word reparations is the part that's hanging them up. And having, us specifically help other countries with loss and damage, and not that it's reparations, but that we're actually aiding them, not taking any fault for it, not saying it's because of us or anything. Just the loss and damage report, and fund is there to make up for what's happening to these countries because we can all help them. Calling it reparations means that they can establish guilt and anger their base.
Penny for it. It's outrageous. We are getting so ripped off historically. It's infuriating.
Brother, thanks for having me on. And you mentioned one thing, negotiations. Who did we negotiate with that we have to pay $1 billion? Like, I can imagine the people on the other side of this table.
Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Package of decisions. Charming Climate Change Conference Advanced Unedited Versions. Let's see. COP27, Implementing Global Climate Observing Plan, Revision of the NFC, Common Metrics, National Adaptation Plan, Matter Seeking Action, Revision of Modalities, Long-Term Climate Finance, Adaptation Finance. All right, I'm going to have to find the... So significant adaptation, serious concerns, the cover design known as the Sharm el-Sheikh implementation plan, because that's where they did it. Okay, hold on one second. Highlights that a global transformation to low carbon is expected to require investment of at least 4 to 6 trillion a year worldwide. Delivering such funding requires a swift and comprehensive central banks. World Leader Summit held over 2 days. Platform. Okay, hold on. Let's see. EU countries, loss and, hold on one second. Loss and damage fund. EU proposes loss and damage fund to help poor countries cope with climate crisis. Deadlock COP27 climate talks received a boost late on Thursday. Proposed it. Okay. Okay. So the EU proposed this. Let's see. Agree and close. Here we go. Deadlock COP27. EU proposed proposal ties compensation for climate disasters to tough emissions cuts. The money would be provided by broad-based funding coalition. The climate issue. EU. The proposal made is a final offer that seeks to find a compromise between nations as negotiators seek a way forward on the UN talks in Egypt. Will other countries sign up to the EU Loss and Damage Fund proposal? Timmermans said he was encouraged by immediate reaction to the proposal and more engagement. The offer is expected Friday. Let's see. Major announcement. EU proposes establishment of a loss and damage response fund, provided there is progress in other areas, including efforts to stay within the 1.5 limit and aligning financial flows and investment with the goals of the Paris Agreement. So this is the actual document they put forward. Give me 1 second. Establish a loss and damage, included in 8.4. The fund would be designed to respond to the needs of the most vulnerable countries to the adverse effects of climate change. The fund would receive financial inputs from parties in a position to do so and a variety of other sources, public and private, including innovative sources of finance. The details of this fund would be designed in accordance with the work plan, CMA, launch and expedite private map of thing. I'm trying to look for how much money's actually in here. Reaffirming the Glasgow Climate Pact, peak global emissions before 2025, reaffirming call to, okay. Let's see, urge to reduction global okay, this is an emissions lowering. It's hard. I don't know where they're getting the $1 billion from. I've seen it come up. Hold on. Climate reparations billion US. Biden torch for agreeing to play. Okay, hold on. Rich nations are finally committing cash to. In a first, hold on. There you go. This is a. They're not calling it climate reparations. They're calling it to pay for climate damages in poor nations. This is the New York Times. After 30 years of deadlock, a new UN climate agreement aims to pay developing countries for loss and damage caused by global warming, but huge questions remain about how it would work. Negotiators from 200 countries, blah, 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 to provide compensation for the cost of destructive storms, heat waves, droughts fueled by global warming. But the United States and other wealthy countries have been long blocked the idea for fear they could be held legally liable for the greenhouse gas emissions that are driving climate change. The agreement hammered out in this Red Sea resort town says nations cannot be held legally liable for payments. The deal calls for a committee with representatives from 24 countries to work over the next year to figure out exactly what form the fund should take, which countries should contribute, and where the money should go. Many of the other details are still to be determined. Creation of the loss and damage, developing nations such as Asia, Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, South Pacific fought first to place the loss and damage fund on the formal agenda of the 2-week summit, and then when they were relentless in their pressure campaign, the announcement. Okay, so the number is the potential for how much they'll contribute. And the idea is that theoretically will contribute more.
Table holding this negotiation, looking at the Biden administration, think, man, boy, we're going to rake the Muppet Show over the coals here with $1 billion. Addison,
I don't know what that means. Neither do you. Let's move on.
when I first heard this story, I thought it came from the Babylon Bee, but then realized that no, we're paying $1 billion for what?
Well, tell us, because I'm looking it up and I'm still seeing that it's possible, I guess.
What, aren't we in enough debt?
We wouldn't be using this as debt. This would be about investment in other areas.
Seriously, can you afford to put gas in your car? Look
Yes, he can.
at interest rates right now, like $1 billion for reparations. Are you kidding me?
Yes, you made that word up. It's you're calling it reparations because you think it has a black sound to it.
And reparations to who exactly? I know they say third world countries, but climate reparations, like people call for slavery reparations. At least I know what you're saying when you're calling for that. At least I understand.
I can't stand the idea, but I know what you're saying.
You know, what exactly the reparations are going towards, who they're going towards, and what purpose they serve. Climate reparations is so clearly just this vague, a headline, this vague.
Right. It's a headline from you guys and Fox News and other places. It's the loss and damage fund.
Caveat to trick people into being, it's reparations for the climate, totally fine.
No, it's the opposite. It's literally changing it from the loss and damage fund to reparations so that right-wingers will hate it.
The whole thing is outrageous.
It is. It is.
Outrageous! Okay, so he knows he's lying and he doesn't know what he's talking about. The use of the word outrageous is obviously a dead giveaway.
You know what? At this point, I should just throw away my passport.
I agree.
Since, we just spent $1 billion, I can go where I want right now.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's our problem. We paid reparations. Kind of like the...
Oh, I see. So you're just totally going to blow past the slavery reparations part that once you pay for something, it's yours? Yikes.
reparations that the Biden administration paid Afghanistan when we left $85 billion
We didn't know such thing.
worth of the most sophisticated weaponry on the face of the earth.
No, we didn't.
When we left that behind,
We didn't.
why are we paying
Teddy Daniels is lying.
third world country?
And apparently he lies in the trenches, which it looks like he's in a turkey sauna, but
reparations so they can then attack us again.
Yeah.
It just, I swear, Addison, sometimes I'm hoping for somebody to just wake me up from this bad dream we're living in.
agreed. Someone should wake this man up from the fever dream that he is currently in.
Well, it's an indictment on the leadership that we have in this country, on the left and the right. The GOP certainly has not been our heroes as of late, especially not.
Oh, and I didn't get any popcorn. How did I not know this was coming? We're gonna do a drive-by rhino attack. Sweet.
Kevin McCarthy. This is something I know you are very eager to talk about, Teddy. This is a headline from National File. Kevin McCarthy used FTX cash to defeat conservatives in 2022. So
You what? Hold on. Kevin McCarthy used FTX cash. Come on now. Yeah, there it is, National File. But I thought this was a whole big Democrat-run thing, that the Democrats were creating FTX and it was a psyop to destroy crypto. McCarthy used left-wing oligarch money to fund a secretive anti-MAGA campaign within the GOP to protect his establishment speaker ambitions. Ooh. GOP establishment leader and Speaker of the House pretender, ouch. Kevin McCarthy used FTX cash to defeat conservatives in 2022 as the corrupt globalist-tied crypto exchange funded the establishment wings of both parties, but it's supposed to be a big... It's not that this guy was trying to get all the regulations around crypto torn away, so he was funding both sides. Yeah. Remember Trump always saying, I gave to both sides? Right. Now McCarthy is feeling the heat as conservative members of the Congress and the voters they're accountable are demanding answers to the failed red wave, which looked more like a pink trickle. Ew. Throughout the midterm campaign season, GOP establishment leader Kevin McCarthy used his congressional leadership fund political machine to inject massive amounts of cash into House races nationwide. In doing so, he targeted GOP primary races and even general elections versus Democrats in which America First conservatives aligned with President Trump. Okay, yeah, they crapped out. That's hilarious. So I guess you're just going to shoot the whole, like, FTX was a giant Democrat, big tech, CIA, Illuminati, hand in glove endeavor.
we all know the story behind FTX, but apparently
Do we now?
Kevin McCarthy was getting money from them as well.
Absolutely. He absolutely was. And what he was doing, now, Kevin McCarthy admitted in a closed-door Republican caucus hearing, he admitted to Congressman Bob Good, a member of the Freedom Caucus.
So he told this guy from the Freedom Caucus, what?
Solid guy, hardcore conservative. He admitted that he only helped candidates who were going to vote for him for Speaker of the House. He did not want America First candidates. That includes Anthony Sabatini in Florida, Jerome Bell in Virginia, Laura Loomer, J.R. Majewski. I may have mentioned Jerome Bell.
I think you might want to mention Jerome Bell.
In Virginia.
Was he in Virginia? But what about Jerome, Virginia in LaBelle, Wisconsin?
The list goes on and on.
Apparently, lists tend to do that if you just repeat the names on them.
And on.
And on.
You know,
have I mentioned someone being on Jerome Bell?
This is not leadership. This is failureship.
Zing. You worked on that, didn't you? Pack it up.
This is corruptionship.
Jesus, stop while you're behind.
This is buy me off ship.
It's a lot of ship. I'm just saying. It's horse ship.
Okay? McCarthy.
You are a dipship. How about that?
Buying votes for Speaker of the House and quashing the America First agenda.
Yeah, it sounds like republicanism.
Could you imagine if we actually had a 30, 40 seat majority, how much we can get done? But
nothing, because you don't have the Senate or the presidency. And also, you'd have to appeal to a larger group of people to get that many seats, and you don't.
No. McCarthy did not want Freedom Caucus members coming in
and he wasn't funding Freedom Caucus members in districts they would lose.
Voting against him for Speaker.
Yeah, it really is just...
Well, and by the way, there's like 5 or 6 of them he can't stop. Like MTG, she was going to get reelected. Boebert got close, but for fuck's sake, there's like Gosar and other, they're not going anywhere. Gosar ran fucking unopposed. And they're not going to vote for him, and he needs like all of them to be speaker. So why wouldn't he help the other folks just get as many Republicans elected as fucking possible?
It's selfishness is the only thing that I...
What? Selfishness? Republican selfishness? When did this shit start? Where's the good old-fashioned Republican altruism? The selflessness? What's good for the community?
I can think of. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, Teddy, and we see it with guys like Kevin McCarthy and people like Dan Crenshaw. I can remember when
That's who you're going after?
Crenshaw was an icon of the conservative movement when when he first entered Congress. He was beloved by all, but he committed political suicide because that BlackRock money started talking to him, and these backdoor dark money groups.
Ooh, backdoor dark money. Did they squeeze his lemon and let the juice run down his leg?
Started paying him some money. The military-industrial complex started paying him some money.
Have you ever met Jimmy Dore? I feel like you guys could make out.
And now he has just gone totally out the window, and he's a power-mad lunatic. He
A power-mad lunatic.
Had a great career, and he could have been one known for his integrity and respect and respecting the American people. But absolute power, again, corrupts absolutely. It's sad.
You're right, and you mentioned icon. Well, he's got one eye, and he's a con. So I think you hit the nail on the head there, Addison. He's definitely an icon, all right? And the con does not stand for conservative. And you nailed it. He is a globalist, okay, funded by the industrial military complex. And again, he has sold out conservatives across this country. And I'm actually, and not disrespecting his service. His service.
Yeah, you are. Like, I'm not a fan of Crenshaw's voting record or any of that shit. I have no idea, if I could even sit through a meal with the dude. But for fuck's sake, he lost his eye as a Navy SEAL in Afghanistan. The fuck is the matter with you? Like, this is the right wing. Remember the folks like, we support the troops, y'all don't support the troops. Fucking hell.
Service to this country is one thing, okay? But
yeah, it's one thing. I mean, an eye for an eye and never mind.
His voting record, it's like John McCain Jr., all right? That's what we have. We have the evolution of John McCain in Dan Crenshaw. That's what we're seeing right now.
Eye patch McCain, as my good friend Alex Stein calls him. Teddy.
Yep.
Fuck you.
Daniels, great.
Also, by the way, John McCain, lots of differences with that dude politically. An immeasurable almost amount of them. But I'm certainly not going to sit back, no matter what problems I have with him, and side with Donald Trump like he's a war hero because he was captured. I like people who weren't captured. Fuck you.
Great to have you on the show. Thank you for breaking these headlines down for us. I appreciate you.
Well, he broke. All right. Yes, he broke the news. Congratulations. The news is officially broken. Holy shit.